Okay, hello everybody. Thank you for being here. My name is Jennifer Gonzalez. I will be walking you through my research and of my proposal titled "The Role of Sensory Tools in Improving Focus." This study is focused on students with self-contained classroom and how they personally feel about sensory tools they use every day to help them stay on task. Moving on to slide 2, statement of the problem. In self-contained classrooms, many students struggle to stay focused, whether it's due to sensory processing issues, ADHD, or emotional challenges. We already use sensory tools like fidget items and weighted vests to help them, but most of the research only looks at what teachers or parents notice. I noticed that a lot of the times we just go based on what we see, what we think might work for them, but we don't always ask students themselves and let them express to us what they think will help them stay focused in the classroom. So, with that being said, I wanted to focus this research on doing that, researching on how students view this and what they will answer if we were to ask them. There's not much out there already that asks the students directly how they feel about using these tools. That's why, like I mentioned, I wanted to make this research based on that. So moving on to slide 3, purpose of the study. The purpose of my project is simple. I wanted to hear from students themselves. I want them to know what tools would work best for them, how they use them, and whether they feel those tools actually help them stay focused. Their input can help educators. Me being a special education teacher, I have noticed that weighted vests help. Also, Chewies. I have a lot of students that you they put everything in their mouths, and Chewies have really helped them stay focused, sitting down and not seeing everything and anything around them to put in their mouth, and instead of they have that necklace around their neck and it's a chewy that they just put in their mouth and they just chew on that. So I think that if we were to ask students themselves what tools would work best, then we would get the perfect answer, and then that's going to be what's going to work for them. And as they get older, they can change their tools or see what they benefit from the most. So that's what I wanted to focus on in this research. Okay, moving on to slide 4, research question and hypothesis. My main research question is, what are students' views on how sensory tools help them stay focused during the classroom? And based on all the research and everything that I read, I've seen that mainly everything is done based on what educators and parents see, not most of, not really so much about how students feel. And my hypothesis is that students will say these tools do help them stay more focused in the classroom and keep them from getting too distracted. That's what I came up with, and from there I'm gonna do my own research and see what else I can dig in, how else I can dig in to find out what I think would benefit students. Moving on to slide 5, review of literature. Okay, so doing all the research, there's a lot of good research out there showing that sensory tools can help. And with that being said, like I said earlier, I've seen it myself in my classroom. But I did find other cases. For example, SCAFs and others have found that sensory tools based on interventions improve attention in children with autism, and that is proven that tools do help not only typical students but also students in the spectrum. Um, the case of Smith and Bryan showed that things like weighted vests can help students stay seated and on task. A lot of times, students with ADHD have a lot of hard time staying seated, so sometimes they need that snugged feeling to help them calm them. So what else in a weighted vest? But most of these studies do not include the student's perspective, the student's voice, and that's the gap I'm trying to fill in, bringing their point of view in and asking them and interview them and seeing what methods might be positive for everyone in the classroom. Okay, moving on to slide 6. I'll be using a qualitative case study approach. The participants will be about 5 to 7 students from a self-contained elementary classroom who already use sensory tools. I'll be doing short one-to-one questions, interviewing them, and with simple and easy questions that they understand. They will be open-ended questions. I will also help them feel comfortable enough to share their thoughts. That's my approach to this case. To this research. Slide 7. Data conclusion procedures. Okay, the interview will take place in a quiet space they're familiar with, probably their own classrooms, considering they're there every day. Each interview will be recorded and kept short, about 10 to 15 minutes long. I mentioned earlier I will be asking open-ended questions like, what's your favorite sensory tool, or how does it help you during class? I want them to speak freely about their experiences, considering that it's going to be very helpful to all educators and also parents. Okay, slide 8, data and analysis plan. Okay, so once the interviews are transcribed, I'll go through them and look for them, like which tools they like best, how they feel when they use them, and what kind of impact the tools have. I will also use different softwares to help sort and organize all the responses into categories and make sense of them. Okay, moving on to slide 9, ethical considerations. I'll make sure everything is done ethically. That means getting written permissions from parents and verbal consents from the students. Their names will be kept private. We would use fake names, initials, or even numbers if parents feel comfortable with that. And at any given moment of the interview, the student can stop. All the data will be kept safe and private, and I'll follow district rules of interviews. Slide 10, significance of a study. At the end of the day, this research is about listening to students. Their feedback can help teachers make better decisions about what tools to use and how to use them. If we want these tools to really work, we need to ask people who already use them and who else is in the classroom. The students. So the students are the ones that are gonna really help this research come to life. All right, so I just want to thank everybody for listening. I'm excited to hear any thoughts, any questions, any concerns, and what is the next step for this proposal. Thank you again and have a great day.